Coming up on today's show, we're going to explore the idea of Atlanta trading for Ryan Tannehill, as NFL.com's Marc Sessler suggested that Arthur Smith and Tannehill have a reunion down in ATL. Couple thoughts right off the bat. One, never heard of Marc Sessler. Two, spells his name with a C, so I can't really trust him all that much. But the big question I have is, why is there still quarterback trade rumors? At this point, it does feel pretty confident that Atlanta is going to move forward with Desmond Ridder as their starting quarterback in 2023, unless some crazy development happens where an unexpected quarterback becomes available. Because if the Falcons were unwilling to go in on Lamar, I don't see why they go for Ryan Tannehill, right? Tannehill's not going to cost you as much as Lamar. I get that. But if they don't want to go down a different quarterback path for Lamar, why would they want to go for a worse quarterback in Ryan Tannehill? So if you are sick of the quarterback trade rumors, because I read the comment section, I know what you guys are saying, and I agree a lot of the time, then like today's video. Hopefully this way Mark gets a hold of this going, you know what, Mark? No, Ryan Tannehill is not going to be an Atlanta Falcon. Now let's look over some Ryan Tannehill stats because it is May of the offseason, so while we have the time, let's indulge this idea. Last year for the Titans, 2,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Tannehill struggled last year, not just on the field, but also off the field, unfortunately, with injuries. Was never really able to get a clean bill of health. He's a tough dude. He's a great guy to have in your locker room, I believe. Coach's son, all that good stuff, cliches. If you know, you know. But I don't know if he really has a spot in Atlanta. Now, I do want to take a moment to go, let's just say the Falcons do want to pursue Ryan Tannehill, right? Let's say Arthur Smith goes, well, I didn't expect Tannehill to be available, and I did great things with him in Tennessee, and we'll look at that later on. Well, I am here to say, screw Derek Carr. Ryan Tannehill comes into this division, and he is immediately the best quarterback, because it might come as a surprise, but when you compare Derek Carr and Ryan Tannehill's head-to-head career stats, they are like dead on even. I mean, Derek Carr has 5 more touchdowns, a couple fewer interceptions, but Ryan Tannehill's got him beat in yardage, and he's got a better quarterback rating. I mean, Ryan Tannehill would step on this roster and rival Derek Carr as the best quarterback in the NFC South. Now, I've never been a big Derek Carr believer, but I think Ryan Tannehill in the right system can be better than Derek Carr. Were Derek Carr in the right system? I'm not quite sure what even the right system is for Derek Carr to be successful, right? It just seems to be the most up and down roller coaster with DC. Whereas with with Ryan Tannehill, if you've got a good ground game, which with Bijan Robinson and this offensive line, he can be a very, very good quarterback. So be the GM. Would you trade for Ryan Tannehill, right? Try to separate the art and the artist here, right? Do you think it's going to happen? That's a whole separate conversation. But if you were in charge, would you make the move to land Ryan Tannehill? Now, this is what Marc Sessler wrote in his write-up. The Falcons bear the mark of a rough-and-tumble, fun-to-watch offense. Sign me up for Sunday afternoon, starring Bijan Robinson and Tyler Allgeier, bashing their way through coward defensive fronts. Heavy spending on both sides of the ball has their roster ready to compete in a weakened NFC. Ownership on down has backed the concept of Desmond Ridder at the motherboard, but he remains a project. I remain attached to the idea of Atlanta swinging a trade with Tennessee for Arthur Smith's pal Tannehill. One of the game's grittier passers would fit right into an offense that has the feel of Titans 2.0. So the only reason I think this idea has any water or carries any weight to it is because it would make sense to pair Arthur Smith and Ryan Tannehill up, because it did work very well the first time. So if Arthur Smith is not getting a good feel from Desmond Ridder in OTAs, which is very premature to say, maybe he does kind of nudge Terry Fontenot and go, let's give Nashville a call and see how much it could cost to get Ryan Tannehill. I heard they like the Will Levis dude they have going. Now, this is what Tannehill did when he had Arthur Smith as his offensive coordinator for 28 games. 67 completion percentage, higher than his career. 6,500 yards, 55 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. That is an insane ratio for a quarterback that's basically just mid. Like, he is just the southern version of Kirk Cousins. So if you can capture those types of numbers in Atlanta, that is going to be better than Desmond Ridder, most likely, right? Unless Ridder has some unforeseen breakout season. Yeah, I do believe that with Ryan Tannehill and Arthur Smith's offense, if the numbers are replicated, it's hard to argue that it would not be an improvement. Now, what I don't know for certain is whether or not you could replicate those numbers, right? Did Arthur Smith get lightning in a bottle for a 28-game stretch? Or can this be brought over to a whole new team and a bit of a new-ish system down in Atlanta? Now, before we get on to the rest of today's video, our sub-battle with the Vikings channel, it's just getting better and better. Let me kind of paint a picture for you guys here behind the scenes at Chat Sports. So producer Nick Roloff and I, we walk home with the Vikings guy, Patrick Seatman. I walk a little further. My apartment's a little further down the road, but we get a 15-minute stroll in, and we don't spend the whole time shit-talking our channels, but you better believe at some point in that 15-minute walk, someone catches the other person off sides by going, oh, Vikings had a good day, huh? And you get Patrick Seatman all big chest, and he's like, yeah, we picked up 80 subs. And then we shit down his throat with 144. So let's keep the train moving. Hit that sub button if you have not already. Now, speaking of this Falcons run game, if you have not gotten your Bijan Robinson jersey, very good reason to do so is this. When Falcons preseason games and training camp rolls around, you don't want to wait till then to order a jersey because a good chance with all the shipping delays and just the absolute nightmare that is transportation, well, there's a very good shot it will not come in on time for week 1. So make sure you're not the bozo wearing an old jersey week 1 against Carolina when you get your Falcons jersey from chatsports.com/BijanATL. So with that all being said, getting back to the Ryan Tannehill portion, he is good. I mean, that is putting it lightly in Arthur Smith's offense. But I still believe that, I don't know if I believe, but I'm more of a believer in, I don't know if Ryan Tannehill can recapture that magic he had from like 2019 to 2020 and kind of dipping into 2021 again a couple of years later in a whole new team, right? I think Ryan Tannehill peaked then. I don't know if he's ever going to get back to that. So with that being said, you might as well see what you have in Desmond Ridder. He played 4 games last year. He improved every single week, it looked like. End of the year throwing 708 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm not the biggest Desmond Ridder believer in the world. You guys know this, but I am a bigger believer in Ryan Tannehill peaked a couple of years ago, and I don't know if trading for him is going to get him back to his old form. I get vibes of Matt Ryan going to the Colts where it might have sounded good in the offseason, but the in-season movie was awful. Now, there is some interesting developments going on with our Cincinnati quarterback here. This is a picture from last year. Rookie minicamp, OTAs, training camp, all that good stuff, okay? Slinging the ball around, looking good. Now, look at Desmond Ridder. I mean, some time at Globo Gym, it looks like. He left Average Joe's, and he is yoked, kind of, right? Can we go back to the last picture really quickly, Rolly? Look at him right now. He looks, first off, like mid-30s, midlife crisis, and he is taking it out on this football. But look at him last year. Look at that tiny right arm. It's like a chopstick. And now look at him. Ginormous. The dude spent some time in the weight room, and he put on a solid 15, 20 pounds of muscle, it looks like. So with that being said, it is time to cue up the Ridder hype train, because if he's going to be the quarterback, then I'm going to sell myself on it, right? It might not work out, and I might get hurt, but if I know Desmond Ridder is going to be this team's starting quarterback, and there's no more opportunities to get Lamar Jackson or draft a QB, which at this point, those are firmly behind you. Yeah, might as well buy in and get a little drunk on the Desmond Ridder yoked Kool-Aid. So with that being said, how excited are you for Ridder in 2023? Scale it 1 to 10. I'm not a 10. I'm probably at a 6.2. 6.2 sounds appropriate. Let me know what your scale is for how excited you are to watch Ridder in 2023. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, you know the deal, right? It's the YouTube cliche portion of the show where I say, go ahead and subscribe if you like today's video, which, hey, if you're still watching right now and you made it to the end of the video, we got to be doing something right here. So subscribe if you have not already. And if you're already subscribed, I don't know, type real one down in the chat right now. That way I know all of you that watch all the way to the end of the video so I can identify the MVPs of the channel.